Hey guys, my name is Kylie. I'm here today to talk about the next project for my Jeep. We're going to be doing a 1-ton axle swap. These are the two axles we got from a junkyard in Virginia. So basically what we're going to be doing is taking the axle apart step by step, prepping it, getting it ready for new bracketry, putting it back together and putting it under the Jeep. We'll let you know what we find is easy, what we find is hard, all the tools that you need, and every bump we hit on the way. This is the project Jeep. It's my Jeep. It's a 2010 Wrangler Rubicon. It's got a manual transmission. What we're going to be doing is putting 1-tons underneath, and then we're going to be stretching it front to rear. I have 37-inch BFG KO2s. I have race line wheels. They are 17s. We have not put beadlocks on my Jeep yet because we knew that we were looking at doing the 1-ton swap, so we wanted to wait and get beadlocks that fit the bolt pattern for the new axles. We're looking at maybe going a little bit bigger with the tires once we do the 1-ton swap, but we haven't quite
How bigger?
Yet. We haven't decided that yet.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. What about beadlocks?
What about them? We're gonna have them.
What brand?
We don't know yet.
We or you?
I don't know yet. In the front we have my axle is trussed and sleeved. It's also got the gussets and the control arm skids. It's done a good job for me so far, but it's time to move on to bigger and better things. Okay, so here we are looking at the rear axle. As you can see, this one's shocks are a little bit beat up there. But really what we've done back here is we added the R-Tech spring perches, and we have the Rough Country diff card here that's seen some use. But beyond the R-Tech perches, we also have the Evo Rockstar skids right there that gives me just a little bit more clearance when I'm on the trails. This axle is out of a 2006 F250 Super Duty. We chose 2006 because the axles built 2005 and newer are a bit heavier duty than the older ones. It cost us about $250. At this point, if I were to give you any advice about the tools that you need, it would be to get some good quality snap ring pliers that are large enough to pull the snap ring out. We got ours on Amazon because our local parts stores didn't have what we needed.
So for those that are watching, it's going to take forever because we have two little girls and we only have about an hour and a half Saturday and Sunday where we can work on the axle because that's their nap time, right? So she needs to hurry up. And on a little side note, for the majority of the project, I'm going to be the tool the tool getter. Yeah, that sounds better. I'm going to be the tool getter because Kylie wants to do the majority of this swap by herself. So I'm going to be recording, giving her a little advice, handing her tools as needed. Would this be easier with pneumatic tools?
It might.
But we can't turn them on because the girls are sleeping.
So what you're seeing here is our first attempt to remove the axle shaft. We are more familiar with the disassembly of the Dana 44 that comes stock on our Jeeps, where the axle shaft slides right out through the steering knuckle and doesn't have this rubber gasket diaphragm thing. I probably damaged this piece, but I'm not 100% sure I'll even need it anyway. This whole project is new for me and I've already learned a few things. Some of you watching might already know the answers, but we'll get there eventually. Later on in this video, you'll see that we finally figured out how to get it out.
Have you ever torn down an axle before?
Not this far. Not as far as we're going to go with this one.
How about a 1-ton axle?
No.
Well, guess what? It's new to me too.
So yesterday we left off with trying to get the axle shaft out of the other side that I was disassembling. After we shut the camera off, I disassembled this side. And then when the girls woke up, we went inside and did a little bit of research and learned that the rubber piece that I pulled out of here did not actually have to come out. All it would have taken was using a crowbar to get the axle shaft out of the steering knuckle. So today I'm going to show you how it's done.
Alright.
Okay, so I needed a little bit of help with that. I couldn't do it by myself, but here it comes.
Stubby, huh? Not that dirty.
So yesterday, after we stopped, we went out for some ice cream, and then we got this right socket to remove the ball joints. It is a 1 5/16 inch socket, and we are gonna turn the air compressor on and.
Why is that?
Why is what?
Why are we using the air compressor?
Because the girls are awake and playing outside with the water.
And it's a lot easier.
And it's a lot easier.
I was so glad we got to use the air compressor because it saved so much time. Now, for those of you that don't have an air compressor or have one but it's too small to use an impact, then I would highly recommend getting an electric impact. It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit bulkier, but it gets the job done. And you can get one at Lowe's or Home Depot and it won't break the bank. Now, for those of you that run into a stubborn lower ball joint nut like we did here, where the ball joint and nut spin at the same time as you're trying to remove it, then all you have to do is hold the ball joint down with an Allen key as you turn the nut with a 1 5/16 wrench. Now, I didn't have the correct size wrench at the time, so Kylie got the adjustable wrench with a 4-foot breaker bar, and we were able to get the job done. It'd be easier if the axle was underneath the truck. You could just put a floor jack here, creating some pressure so you can take that nut off and the ball joint stud stop spinning. But we don't. And I know there's other ways to remove the steering knuckle. Well, with a couple good hits, it was out in no time. What, you call it a weekend?
Yeah.
All right.
We are finishing up the first weekend of this project. We started with the front axle. We tore it down on both sides, starting with the hubs. The first little roadblock we hit was that when I took apart the second hub, I actually pulled the faceplate off without the entire assembly. If you look right here, there's a groove and some plastic tabs. It's really easy to put back together. The tabs just pop right into that groove right there. After we took the hub out, we went to the wheel bearing, which was a simple 4 bolts and a flathead screwdriver. I messed up the brake shield thing a little bit, but if we need to replace it, we can. After we got those out, we hit our big roadblock, which was figuring out how to get the axle shafts out. So at first I was messing around with this piece here, and I pulled a rubber gasket or seal or something out of there that didn't necessarily need to come out. And then after some research, we figured out that the seal stays in, and it just takes 2 people and a crowbar to pop that out. After I got the axle shafts out, we started trying to get the steering knuckle out. We had to go to the store to get the right size socket for this ball joint here. It's a 1 5/16 socket. We got the first one out just fine, but then we hit our last roadblock for the weekend when we were trying to get this nut off. The ball joint was spinning while we were using the impact, so we had to use a couple breaker bars, a crescent wrench, and an Allen key and some muscle to slowly get that one out. But we're done for the weekend. We're going to take the girls inside and enjoy the AC. You heard them yelling earlier. They're over here. Were you guys making noise while we're filming? Huh? Yeah, it was you. How do you feel about people who run vlogs and only are down to 15 PSI? I feel like they've wasted a lot of money.